Greetings once again, spacefaring adventurers. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with Eden Zero. Previously, Shiki had managed to defeat Poseidon Nero, who in a roundabout way taught Shiki how to obtain a new form of ether, a new form of overdrive, and a new way to apply his power in general. And when Drac and Joe entered the scene, I had assumed they'd throw down, but no. Shiki, with knowledge of Drac and Joe's past, was able to more or less talk things out with him. And with this version of Drac and Joe mostly using his powers on animals, he was essentially the kindest version of Joe you could find in any universe. So Shiki tried to appeal to his better nature, and while Draken didn't take the friendship bait entirely, he did have a sympathetic ear to what Shiki had to say, with Shiki advising Joe about the approach of the chronophage and to get as many people off the planet as he could. Could this, and I can't believe I'm saying this, kinder version of Joe be of assistance in the future? That is the question. But Shiki has managed to pretty much obtain the majority of his friends. The only ones left, well, aside from Lobelia and Couchfu, who I feel like we probably should pick up at some point while we're still in the Sakura Cosmos, but I mean, I would have thought they'd be at the guild and stuff like that, and we would have ran into them, but doesn't seem like we were making them a bit of a priority. Regardless, there's still Laguna, who's in the Aoi Cosmos, battling Poseidon Shura, and the most perplexing element of all. While Musco did encounter Homura, nothing has managed to trigger her memory, and when the question is raised, since so many things are so much kinder in this universe, maybe Valkyrie is alive. But as it turns out, this version of Homura was trained by Valkyrie, and Valkyrie still died. Has the streak of Universe Zero being a land of greater possibilities finally come to an end? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Join me as I find out, won't you? Seriously, you're getting to a point where I'm starting to think that by the time season 2 of the anime is gonna come out, the manga will be done. I say that while pretty much being smack dab in the middle of season 1. This is a cute little cover spread though. And Klein, back in the design I love the most. Yeah, I'm still on that. Sue me. Our original design is iconic, dang it! Oh yeah, we picked up Hermit's body, that's right. I forgot that Witch had gone to Digitalis and got her mind, but not her body. So you got Hermit doing some stretches. Sister questions, so, how's your body? Hermit says, it's good. There doesn't seem to be any pain. And Witch smiles at her, saying, I am delighted to see you again, Hermit. And Hermit smiles, beaming back at her. Me too, Witch. With Hermit finally back aboard Eden Zero, 3 of the Demon King's 4 shining stars are assembled. However, they learn straight from Homura's mouth that Valkyrie is dead. Man, Valkyrie really can't catch a break. The one universe where there's the possibility of her being alive and she's still dead. Dang, I'm actually kind of bummed about that. Like, that would have been, like, one of the most interesting things about this. Man, it's just like, Witch is alive and Valkyrie? Holy crap! Sister says, however, it would seem Valkyrie died in the previous world as well. Sister says, in this world, I kinda expected it, but... And Hermit says dejected, I guess the 4 shining stars will never align. That is a bummer. This would have been a great time to really see what it's like when the 4 of them are, like, together. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love seeing Homura, like, go at it alongside them. That was cool when they were going up against the Dark Stars. I don't know, I guess it would have been, like, something really wild to see after spending so long thinking it would never happen. Yeah, they're all dejected, and Sister speaks up saying, so, what were you up to for the last 15 years? Oh, were things better for Hermit in this universe? I didn't even think about that. Maybe her encounter with that freakazoid doctor wasn't as bad, which is hard to believe because he was the scummiest being in all of Eden Zero. Hermit says, I was researching ether accelerators this whole time. Dr. Muller wasn't in this world, so my days have been peaceful. Oh, we just completely deleted his ass! I actually love that. It's just like, no. There was no saving that kind of a scumbag. He's just not here. He got hit by a bus early on. Like, the moment he had his first corrupt thought just BAM! Like the same accident that was gonna cost Happy his life and get him in that robot body, it happened to Muller. He didn't survive. No one mourned him. Sister then asks, so why lock yourself up in Digitalis? Hermit says, I didn't lock myself up exactly. I finished my research and Planet Hook was on the road to recovery. So with nothing better to do, I went to the game world. Just like, everything worked out, so I'm just gonna game for a while. Like, I wasn't trapped. I was in there for like maybe 5 hours before you showed up. Sister just sighs. We then see Jin skulking in the background saying, that's interesting. Which says, oh my, Master Jin, you've arrived. Jin then says, we didn't meet Muller in this world either. Okay, yeah. That's right, I forgot Muller was involved with Jin. Yeah. Oof. God, I always put what happened to Hermit at the forefront of things when I think of Muller. But then it's just like, oh right, the things he did to Chris and Klein were, oof. Just, ooh baby, utter scum. But Jin says, we didn't meet Muller in this world either. Sister questions, so how come you're an OTEC? Chris says, I did it by choice. On my planet, implants are a part of life. People were becoming OTEC to adapt to the planet's atmosphere. Oh. So, the fate took it in a different direction. Interesting. Hermit then questions, even Klein? Chris explains, she was afraid, so she did not become an OTEC. Okay. That would have been interesting, though, if we found out that Klein had, like, cybernetic implants and upgrades and stuff. Chris then explains, then we left to study abroad per our family customs and went to Gils. Oh, so their parents are still alive here. Which, yeah, of course. If it weren't for Muller, they probably would have had much better lives in general. Dang. I mean, they come from a high-class family too, right? Huh. Dang, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot about a lot of Chris and Klein's backstory. I mostly remember about, like, Klein's emotional loss and her issues with her emotions and stuff, but I forgot about Muller because I just really hate that guy. Sister questions, why that crappy-ass planet? Jin simply says, why indeed? We had the wrong directions, and as a last resort, we were working under Draken. They got lost. Wow, so it's literally only through happenstance that they encountered them. They could have been anywhere else in the galaxy. Like, if that isn't essentially the writer's hand, or I guess it is more easy to call it fate, just pulling them together, I don't know what is. Because that really is kind of how Mashima's been writing this, as acts of fate. I love Hermit's stunned face like, what? Citadin says, well, that's fine and dandy, but we gotta do something about Homura. I examined her, and she's got no physical or mental abnormality. Hermit then says, could it be her heart that's keeping her from remembering the last world? Which then wonders, or perhaps it will resolve itself in time. Is it potentially because of just all the things that happened? I don't know, because, no offense to Homura, but what happened to Chris and Klein? I wouldn't want to remember all that either. Like, oof. I mean, Homura had a rough time, but maybe. Different people are made of different stuff. It's hard to imagine Homura being unable to confront the truth. We then cut over to the dress factory in the Eden Zero, where Homura is in her old clothes. She's there alongside Rebecca and Klein, as Rebecca questions, what do you think? Your clothes from the last world. Klein beams, saying you wore no differently. Wore no differently? Huh. That doesn't sound like proper grammar. Happy then questions, do you really don't remember? Homura sheepishly says, I do humbly apologize. She's also not as vocal as I'm used to. I mean, she does tend to be a little quieter a lot of times, but that's because her inside thoughts tend to be on the outside. That doesn't really seem to be the case here. Shiki then says, that's nothing to apologize for. Wise then has a utter depraved look on his face saying, maybe wearing the super sheer bunny outfit will jog her memory. Pino says, wicked sentiment detected. Homura is obviously depressed, saying, in this previous world you speak of, was my master ever still alive? Shiki pauses, but then looks away, saying, no. Sorry. Homer tells him, "You have no need to apologize. So that is how it is it?" Rebecca then says, "Say, tell us about this world's Valkyrie." Homer takes a moment and then says, Everything was my fault." We then pick up on Oedo, and Homer explains, "When I was on Oedo, my mother left to work away from home and never returned. Valkyrie became my parent and teacher in the art of the sword. But 5 years ago, in a match within the great shogun's presence, I injured the son of the shogunate family. On my planet, this is an act of disrespect punishable by beheading." Oh, it's Creed. Yeah, they actually have a backstory now. Not just coming from the same planet, essentially. Wise says, "You're gonna get your head cut off over a kid's mat?" Homer says, "Fortunately, despite his injury, Lord Seiji was beyond kind. He stood in my defense to the bitter end, but, oh no. The great shogun deemed him to be setting a bad example and ordered my beheading. And then, the one who took my place was..." And we pick up with Valkyrie bowing her head saying, "A student's disrespect is the teacher's responsibility. Would you accept my head in place of hers?" And Homer, being held back by the shogun's guard, says, "You mustn't, teacher. I don't want this." Creed calls out, "Father, this is too much. Please show mercy." And Valkyrie's last words are, "Live strong, Homer." And as Homer cries out, Valkyrie's beheaded. Really? She... I'm not gonna lie, I hate that this is the way she went out. I mean, yes, she went out in defense of Homer, but... previously Valkyrie went out like a boss. Like the way Valkyrie went out previously, that event brought me to tears when you saw her final stand and that moment with Homer and all this. But for this to be the way she went out, it's still great that she at least went out defending Homer and not in the name of a lie, essentially. But I don't know. This kind of rubs me the wrong way, I'll be honest. Naturally, everyone in the room looks on horrified as Homer says, "Ever since that day, I could no longer wield my sword, even though I learned ether gear from my teacher." And Shiki's the only one in the group who has a more stern face. Homer says, "Now I am alone once more, and I made a decision. I set out in search of my missing mother." That's a hard one. Like, Universe Zero has been a lot kinder of a place in general, but that's... Like, Creed said he left his family because their customs were archaic, just like previous ancient Japan that was isolationist. He sought a greater understanding in the greater universe, but I guess I got my hopes up really bad because so much good had come from this universe so far. I guess then we have a meeting of Sister, Hermit, and Witch. Sister questions, then she wound up getting caught by Draken, right? Hermit questions, why did things turn out so horribly just for Homer in this world? Witch questions, this should have been a happy world. Is that what you mean? Hermit says, at least we do know where Homer's mother is. Sister adds, though depending on the situation, things could turn out even worse. It's gonna be rough on her, but to get Homer's memories back, we don't have any other choice. And I guess that's Planet Sun Jewel. Yep, sure enough. Planet Sun Jewel. Alright, let's see what's different here. Wouldn't it suck if Madame Kurenai was still a massive ass in this universe too? Although everybody's mom has been alive in this universe so far. Although I don't know why I'd say she'd be dead. She was one of the few moms we actually met over the course of this series. Right? We see Homura, Happy, Pino, Shiki, Wise, and Rebecca walking the street. Hopefully things aren't as bad as they were previously, but there's emergency signals all across, and nobody's out on the street. Homer looks around saying, is my mother on this planet? Shiki says probably, but there's something we gotta tell you first. In the last world, your mother, she called herself Madame Kurenai, and Rebecca says, but Homer interjects saying she was a worthless human being, wasn't she? Which shocks Shiki and Wise. Homer goes on to say she is a woman who could not even settle her debts. I am prepared for her. Jeez. So we have to have a subversion. Happy questions, I wonder if meeting Madame Kurenai will really bring her memories back. Pino says we cannot say for sure. Rebecca adds, we don't even know if she is Madame Kurenai. But Wise, looking around, questions, hold up, where'd all the people go? And then a person shouts out, "Hey, what are you kids doing out there? Can't you see the warning signs? Hurry and get yourselves to the shelter." Shiki questions, "Warning sign?" The man says, "It's the stones. Monsters coming from the blockade zone." "Oh yeah. Oh, is this world not being mined anymore? Huh, maybe it's different here." Shiki freezes up over that, saying, "Stones? You mean those bugs?" Wise questions, "What do you mean blockade zone?" Pino does a search, saying, "Search results. The labor district in this world is known as the blockade zone." Rebecca says, "You mean those bugs come to the upper level in this world?" I mean, yeah, if you don't have people going down there to take care of them, I would assume so. I guess that was the one benefit of what Madame Kurenai did previously. The man goes running off, saying, "Just follow me. I'll take you to the shelter." Shiki follows, nervously saying, "Yes, sir." But Wise questions, "Is hiding really gonna cut it?" The man yells back, "As long as we have the Punishers, we'll be just fine." Happy, asking the $1,000,000 question, says, "Punishers? Oh, is that the freedom fighters from previously?" You see a silhouette of them as the man yells back, "The guardians of this planet, see? Here they come." And we see the members of Valkyrie's army in the previous universe, Edgar, Van, and Yak, who come running up yelling, "For the safety of the citizens, 1 + 2 = 1,000,000 power." Shiki and the gang are shocked as Rebecca says, "Ah, it's those guys. Oh, and Nino's with them too." Running in saying, "Anime will save the universe, and I will save the people. Nino!" Ah, man. Good old Nino. Rebecca looks on at him fondly. And along with him are Bakken and Garrot. Okay. So that has to mean, because it's the Zaiten 3 who served under Madame Kurenai. Garrot shouts, "Right, time to work. How many can we squish today?" As Baku tells him this isn't a competition, Shiki and Wise are shocked as Shiki says, "The whip guy," and Wise says, "The lion." And sure enough, in comes Madame Kurenai saying, "Everyone, the enemy is invading from Block 13. They'll let a single one escape." And sure enough, Shiki and Homura look on in shock as Madame Kurenai commands her forces, telling them, "We are the shield that defends this planet." As Homura looks to her in shock, saying, "Mother, Madame Kurenai is defender of the people? What in the cosmos happened in this world?" I really do come out of this feeling conflicted, because on the one hand, cool, Madame Kurenai seems to be a good person, although I love it that in the previous universes, Homura looked to her mother, hoping that she would be something better, and she was just worse in every way possible. But in this universe, Homura was ready for her mother to be despicable, but now she seems to be a defender of the people. But though the question remains, why did she never come back for Homura? Why did Homura have to essentially repay her mother's debt? That raises a lot of questions. And I still feel some kind of way about Valkyrie dying dying the death she did. Let me leave it at that. Like, it just feels like such a wait. I'm waiting for some kind of twist to tell me somehow Valkyrie is still alive or something. Like, it would have been so cool if we picked up with Valkyrie and Kurenai working side by side, whereas before Kurenai had manipulated Valkyrie and led her to her death. In this one, they were, trusted partners working side by side, and Valkyrie was Kurenai's right-hand woman and stuff like that. This universe has really gotten my hope up on so many things that to now have something turn out for the worse is like even more crushing than I would have thought it would be. It's like, dude, I was really jonesing for something good to happen. I don't know. Maybe I was just riding the high a little too much, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think things will turn out for the best in the end with all of this? How do you feel about the death of Valkyrie in this universe? What will be the trigger that brings Homura's memories flooding back? Is this it? Just seeing her mother? Is it there potential for Valkyrie to somehow survive? Kind of hard to believe having lost her head the way she did. And what about Creed? Did he still go out into the universe after everything that happened? I would think so, considering he kind of was just like, "Oh no, it's fine," and his dad still did what he did. I do appreciate that at least this time around, Homura and Creed actually have a history together. Maybe Justice and Elsie can have a better end than the previous time around. Ooh, what if they're married in this timeline? Yeah, I can see it happening. Things on Lendard went magnificently. The army that her mother created was a great peacekeeping unit defending the populace all over the place, stuff like that. Who knows? But that's for later down the line. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on more Eden Zero. And until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.